All right. Looks like we're kicking off now. Looks like everything running. Let's get disclaimers out of the way. We'll jump into it here. Those. This is a weekly live broadcast pretty much every Thursday evening. This is where I am, 7 o'clock Central Time. I don't have a topic planned. It's really just I let the chat kind of drive the how the video is going to go. I do my best to respond to every chat that comes in during the live broadcast itself, unless you're talking to each other, which is fine. You can do that. The only things I really ask is be polite, be family friendly. Don't start cussing anybody. Don't start calling anybody names. Don't be hateful or anything like that. We'll have to kick you out. But other than that, we can have disagreements. We can have debates. Those are fine. I like a good debate. Just don't get too upset. Don't get too heated. Don't be upset. Don't cuss anybody. Like I said, keep it family friendly. Let's jump into it. We got Ed here. Ed got Bates here. Says, hey, Chris, thought for sure you were going to electrocute yourself with that plucker. LOL. Wow, that was a big pile of feathers. Glad all is well. Yeah. Well, no, I couldn't get it running at first. I pulled the cord and it unplugged it up here at the house. So we had, an extension cord. But my sister figured it out, got it running. We got it going. So yeah, no worries about electrocuting. They did have the cord up like on a tree limb, so where it actually plugs in. So I didn't have to worry about water getting in that. It wasn't, even if it didn't pull up that much anyway. But just to be sure, I did that. Joe Sandy says, Chris, I can't join tonight. I'm in a hot attic helping my son run a cable wire. Just wanted to give my thumbs up. Well, thank you for stopping by, and hopefully you get all that run just okay. That's doesn't sound pleasant, but got to be done, right? I don't guess it has to be done. But anyway, good for you for helping, I guess. Says you're praying your wife is okay and loved your white leaf pile. Yeah, I noticed I said leaves, a big pile of leaves when I was editing the video, and I'm like, well, I'll just leave it in. They know what I'm talking about, and that'll give them something to tease me about. So I did say, we got a big pile of leaves back here. I didn't even catch it when I said it. I caught it when I was editing the video. I guess it's just it's autopilot thing. One of those things that just runs off your tongue. But yeah, my wife's fine. It was a small cut on her finger. She just needed to go put a Band-Aid on it and get it, it wasn't too bad. She's fine. TM says, hello, everyone. I'm guessing Slightly Redneck's been eating chicken this week. Well, we did eat some chicken this week, but it wasn't those chickens. It was one left over, like we hadn't finished up from last year. So we did eat some chicken, though. Dawn says, good evening from South Central Illinois. I can't stay, but came for as long as I can. Well, that's fine. You don't have to explain that. That's perfectly all right with me. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate that. Warchild says hello to everyone. Hello to you too. Jennifer says, good evening, Chris. What kind of chicken plucker? Let's see. That was a yard bird chicken plucker, I believe. They're kind of pricey. They're, like I said, right around $500. But boy, it sure did a great job. I mean, it really made the process a lot quicker. I've always said I can't justify the cost, and I'm still not sure I can, but I don't know. I got somebody... my sister actually, she put out a Facebook post and asked if anybody in the area had one that we could rent. And she did get a response to that, but she'd already had this one. This one got borrowed for free, but I don't know the person she borrowed it from. It was a friend of a friend, something like that. So I won't have that available to me necessarily next year, but she did find somebody that here locally that will rent them for $20 for a weekend. So I might just rent one. I don't know. $20, that's not a bad deal. I could do $20. I just don't want to put out $500 for it, just to use it once a year. Anyway, Joy from Western Oregon, good to see you. Chester Hickman says good evening. Good evening to you too. Don says hello everyone from South Mississippi. Good to see you too. And Verna's here. Hey Chris, 9th like. Well, awesome. I appreciate that. Yeah, we're right at 9 likes so far. We got 24 people here. So, and I'm out of chats all of a sudden. I'm just out of chats. So I need to have something to talk about, don't I? There's Steve Sadnick, I think it is, says hello from Wisconsin. Good to see you. Apologize if I have a hard time reading some chats. I got some scratches on my glasses, and it's not even that bad. It's just one lens, right, but it's right there, and it just kind of distracts me and makes it hard to kind of see around a little bit every once in a while. I need to get new glasses, but I haven't been to the eye doctor in a while, so I need to go to the eye doctor and make sure my prescription hasn't changed before I order new glasses. By the way, if you guys don't know, if you wear glasses, order them from Zenni Optical. I mean, Zenni is fantastic quality. These are, I got scratches on them, but these are like 4 years I've had these, and they finally got scratched up a little bit. And they're way cheaper than buying it, even with insurance, through like your eye doctor or whatever. All right, we got Joe Sandy here says, I'm still in the attic waiting for instructions. I've been there before. I get it. My grandfather was an electrical contractor. I started working for him when I was, I don't know, 8 years old, somewhere around in there, 8 or 9 years old. So I was crawling under houses, pulling wire up in attics, pulling wire and that kind of stuff. And yeah, I spent a lot of time just sitting waiting on instructions. Verna says, hey, Ed saying, oh, she's talking to everybody else. I'll let you guys do that. Ed says, how's the garden bouncing back? Garden's doing okay. Having a problem with cucumber and cantaloupe. I mean, everything else is doing great. Well, we got one zucchini plant that doesn't look like it'll make it. I put some seeds in the ground to get some new starts going. But we're on our third planting of cucumber and zucchini, or cucumber and cantaloupe, because something keeps eating the tops off of them whenever they sprout. And I don't know if it's a rabbit or if it's insects. I set out some earwig traps. We've got a few, but not a ton. But I know we got tons of earwigs. I mean, I see them all the time. So I don't know. I tried something new with my traps. I may have to modify them a little bit. I figure I put some, I see the earwigs get in my feed buckets. I mean, whenever I open up the quail feed, there's earwigs in there. Not a lot, but a few. So I thought, well, they could probably, with all the rain coming, I didn't want to put and if you guys don't know, an earwig trap, just to explain, I've explained it before, but just in case, it's just a shallow, I use like a Tupperware style container, put some oil, that much oil in the bottom of it, a couple of splashes of soy sauce, 4 or 5, splashes of soy sauce in there, and that's it. And it draws them in, and then they die in the oil. So I put those out, but I was afraid that if I just set them out there, I mean, we're getting rain like every other day. They were just going to fill with water. It wouldn't be any good. So I thought, well, maybe if I put a lid on it, drill some holes through the side, they'll be able to get in through the holes. And I've caught some, and a couple other weird bugs, and ants. Caught a lot of ants for some reason. That was weird. But anyway, but not as many as I would expected. So I don't know, honestly, if it's earwigs getting them, I went overboard with the seeds this time. So I'll have lots of starts coming up, and they're just now starting. So we'll see how they get going. But the rest of the garden's doing pretty good. I probably should we didn't do as big a garden as we usually do. I've got tomatoes. I've got some cantaloupe starting, some cucumber starting. We got the okra going, peppers. I got garlic. I did put some beets in one of the raised beds. We got sweet peas out in the green stock garden. And what else? Some summer squash and some zucchini, and that's it. So that's all we've got going so far anyway. So anyway, it's not as big as it has been in the past, but still going all right. Bunny Money says, hey, from Rattlesnake Harbor, Ontario. Joe Sandy says, love that you keep your videos real. Don't change that, please. I do my best. I try to keep them fairly real. Sometimes if I catch myself saying something wrong, I'll back up and I'll do it over again. I'll just cut that out, but not very often. Jacob says, hey, Chris, put my free chicks outside yesterday in a dog kennel. They're 6 weeks old. Well, I hope that goes well in a dog kennel, huh? Your free chicks. I'm not sure what kind of chicks we're talking about. If you're talking about quail chicks at 6 weeks old in a dog kennel, that seems like that may not hold them. Now, if you're talking like Cornish cross or something like that, then yeah, that should be just fine. But either way, hopefully they're doing well. Jammin' Mike's here, says hello to everyone. Hello to you. Bunny Money says, thanks for Chris for getting me into rabbits. Quail's been very profitable for me. Well, awesome. I'm glad to hear that. I'm assuming you're selling some of them or something, because that's how I would think they'd be profitable. But either way, I'm glad to hear that. So glad it's going well. Verna says, soon I'll have to pick some peppers soon. Even though I have tomato flowers, haven't found any tomatoes yet. Yeah, our peppers are probably a little ways from producing. They're doing fine, but they're just a little ways from producing. Tomatoes, we do have some small tomatoes starting on them. They're green, of course, right now. So it'll be a little while before we get them too, but not too much longer. TM says you need a trail cam to keep in your garden to try and catch whatever it is. Well, I mean, if it's an animal, yeah. I mean, it'd be a rabbit, more than likely. If it's an animal, I can't imagine what else it would be. We don't have that many. I mean, we got squirrels, we got rabbits. Sometimes a skunk makes it around, or a possum. But none of skunks, possums, none of those, like an armadillo, none of those things would come in and eat the tops off there. Now, a groundhog might, I suppose. I think they go for bigger stuff. We do have a groundhog that lives back in the back corner, but he doesn't usually come up in the yard. Doesn't usually bother anything up in the yard. He usually stays back there in the back tree line and Sometimes gets in my compost pile and eats, like if we throw pieces of watermelon or something in there. But I mean, it's got to be a rabbit, right? Verna says, Chris, I'm making rabbit jerky from belly flaps. Well, hopefully that goes well. I've never had it. I've heard people doing that, but I don't know. It just seems kind of odd to me, so I've never done it. Scrap 5000 says, what's up, all? Greetings from New York City. Smash the like button. Well, thank you very much. We've got 14 likes in here, so we're getting there. S.O. Swanson says, greetings from Mississippi. Good to see you. Bunny Money said, I only planted seeds that I saved from last year just to see if I can do it as a test. Well, yeah, if they're heirlooms, I mean, if you grew heirlooms last year and you saved the seeds and you're restarting it, I mean, yeah, they should work. No reason they shouldn't. Now, if they were hybrids that you were growing, then you're taking a chance. You don't know what you're going to get out of them. They may be good, they may not be good, but who knows? Andy says, hey, Chris and everybody from Southwest Michigan. Good to see you. Ed said, Chris, bet it's a bunny or a squirrel. Last year I had a squirrel get into my porch boxes and ate all the tomato starts. What a jerk, LOL. I heard somebody else talking about a squirrel eating them, but they're a nightshade, aren't they? I mean, the plants are toxic. You don't want, maybe the squirrel ended up dying from them. I don't know. It could have been a squirrel. I very seldom have issue. Well, I take that back, though. I did see a squirrel coming out of the garden the other day, but he didn't. I mean, maybe it was. Maybe I need to set my squirrel trap out and catch them and thin them out again. Jacob says they're laying birds. They were the free ones from the elementary school hatching. Okay, I remember talking about that now. I have an 8x8 chain link dog kennel, put hardware cloth around the bottom, and it has a tarp roof I use. Well, there you go. As a temporary, there's more to it, as a temporary grow out until they are big enough to join my main flock. Well, that sounds like you got a plan. Bunny Mommy says, trust me, it's a rabbit. Bunny Money, I think it's, I don't know if I said that right. Trust me, it's a rabbit. Well, it could be. I mean, that's what I assumed it was the first time as a rabbit. They do tend to I've had problems with them before getting in there and nibbling on my plants, and especially when they first start. Now, once they get up about, yay big or so, it's usually not a big issue. But they sure do like those just as they start kind of plants. Desert Homestead says, Chris, hi, Chris, my first Kindle of rabbits, 11 and a half weeks old. They were 3.1 pounds at 8 weeks old. It's hot here, 115 today. Does the heat slow down growth, or should I process it 12 weeks or wait till 5 pounds? Honestly, you could do it up, however you want to. And Verna's saying the same thing. It's up to you, really. You could do it however you wanted to. Me personally, I would probably go ahead. If they're 3.1 pounds at 8 weeks, they're probably over 4 pounds by now, aren't they? At 8, 9, 10, 11. You got another 3 weeks, so they're probably over 4 pounds by now. I'd probably go ahead and process them at 12 weeks just because, I don't want to feed them out for however long it needs to take and put the money into the feed. There's a diminishing return on that at some point. But you could do it however you wanted to. I don't think the heat's going to have a whole lot of effect on how fast they grow. Maybe, it may have an effect on how much they eat, but most of the time, the growth rate, unless you're feeding them stuff other than pellets, if you want the fastest growth out of your rabbits possible, you feed them nothing but pellets. So if you're feeding them off of you're trying to feed them off of greens and things like that maybe you grow or you're harvesting for them or whatever, that you're going to get slower growth rates from that. That's just the feed's going to cause them to grow out a little bit slower. But other than that, it's really just a genetics thing. I don't know that the heat, unless it's affecting how much they're eating, I'm not really sure. I don't ever really raise the rabbits that much in super hot town. We don't even get 115, very rarely. Occasionally, but not very often. So I don't know that I can speak to that with a huge, well, there's Jacob says heat does slow the grow out because they eat less. I do 5 pounds for 12 weeks, whichever comes first, no matter what season we're in. Yeah, it's kind of how I would do it too. So maybe it does. Maybe it does have some effect because it would cause them to eat a little bit less. Steve says, hi to all from South Louisiana. Good to see you, Steve. Bunny Money says, my only hybrid seeds are cherry tomatoes, and they keep coming back every year. Never have to buy them. Well, there you go. It's unusual that hybrids will come back true to the parent plant. That's the difference between a hybrid and an heirloom. Heirlooms come back true to the parent plant. Hybrids don't necessarily, and usually don't. But if they're doing it, if it's working, no need to change it. Verna says, add oatmeal to their feed to get them to put on weight. That's not a bad deal. You could add some oatmeal. like steel cut oats or something. Bunny Money says I grass feed my bunnies in a tractor and I only get 4.4 to 4.5 pounds at 12 weeks, but the cost is very low. Yeah, there's a trade-off there. I mean, it does take them longer to grow out, but like you said, the cost is very, very low. So it may be worth it. TMs want to know, did you get an average weight on your chickens? No, we didn't weigh them. So I mean, I saw somebody commented that, and I thought, I probably should have weighed them and found out. But no, they're pretty good size. I mean, I'm guessing they were pretty close to 5 pounds. Before processing. After would be a little bit smaller than that. But no, we didn't actually weigh them, so I don't know what the exact weight was. But they all look pretty good and big. Bunny Money says after a few years, the cherry tomatoes are pretty consistent. Yeah, well, that would make sense too. Maybe that it takes a few years for them to become consistent, I guess. Makes sense. Scrap 5000 says, Chris, we picked up 12 Rhode Island red chicks from Tractor Supply yesterday to add to the flock. So excited for what is that? I can't read, the stupid thing is in the way. Hang on just one second. Let me see if I can hide it. No, it doesn't give me the option to hide it. I got to wait till somebody else. There we go. Rotisserie roaster meals. Can't keep roosters in New York City. Well, we can't keep roosters here in Joplin, Missouri either, in city limits. And those roosters there was a couple of them, I heard them, because most of our meat chickens were roosters, at least half of them. The roosters grow a little faster and get a little bigger. But anyway, there were a couple of days where I heard those roosters trying to start to crow. I mean, they didn't really crow, but they made some kind of sounds. They weren't super loud. But I was like, we got to get them done this weekend because within another week, they may start crowing. And if I get, 15 or 20 roosters in there starting to crow, that's going to be a problem. But yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, just eat the roosters. Why not? Rotisserie is a good way to do it too. We've got a rotisserie attachment for our gas grill, and it does a pretty good job. I like that quite a bit. That's one of our favorite ways. We don't actually do it all that often, but it is one of our favorites. The problem we have is with the chickens we raise. I mean, they're pretty good size, and we can't eat it all in one meal. So I usually break them down and usually use like the breast for something like enchiladas or something like that, and then we'll grill the thighs or the legs, and have several meals off of that. But do it rotisserie, you still get several meals off of it. You don't have to eat it all at once. Jacob. To help the rabbit grow out, I feel old-fashioned oatmeal and Boss, which is black oil sunflower seed, if you're not familiar. 2 parts oats to no more than half a cup per pin. Okay, it's stuck here. Hang on. 2 parts oats to something. I can't read the rest. I got to wait till somebody else comments or something. I can't get it to... Oh, you know what I can do? I think I can pop the chat out, and that might help. How do I do that? Let me see if I can figure that out. Here we go. Pop out chat. Does that help? It kind of helps. I can expand the screen, and that helps a little bit too. All right, let's see if I can get to it then. Where it is? Where is it? To help the rabbits grow out, I feel old-fashioned oatmeal and Boss. 2 parts oats to 1 part Boss. No more than half a cup per pin. So yeah, that sounds pretty good. Black oil sunflower seed, they're really high in fat. Rabbits tend to really like them. They should work. It should help a little bit with adding some weight on them. Good suggestion. Yeah, a lot of people have never heard that term Boss, B-O-S-S. It's just black oil sunflower seed. It's a really good thing to feed. Pretty much all rodents and small animals. Rabbits aren't rodents, but, all rodents, small animals, whatever, like black oil sunflower seed. Gerbils, hamsters, mice, rats, guinea pigs, rabbits, probably squirrels. I'm assuming they like everything. Everything likes black oil sunflower seed. Jacob says, if you're feeling fancy, you can use calf manna too. It's 2 teaspoons per head is what the bag says. I feed Boss to my chickens too. Yeah, everything likes black oil sunflower seed. Rita says, hi all, y'all, hey. I don't know. That's a weird little Hi, all y'all. Hey, I don't know the A part. I don't know. Are you Canadian? Maybe. I don't know. I don't know what that means. But either way, hello to you too. Bunny Money says cracked corn is okay for bedding up rabbits as well, and it's cheap. Beefing up rabbits. That makes a little bit more sense. Yeah, I suppose you could use cracked corn. That makes sense. I just feed pellets and just call it good because that's just easier. Rita says that's my Southern Canadian. Yeah, I kind of guessed. I was close, wasn't I? I said, "Are you Canadian?" I was close. That reminds me. I gotta find something real quick. I got a mess of paperwork on my desk here. I don't keep it very organized. I'm kind of sloppy here. But you live in California. Oh, okay. Bunny Money says Western Canadian. I gotta renew my tag, so I'm trying to find the piece of paper so I can set it up here to remind me. And because I keep forgetting, and I don't know why I just thought about it all of a sudden, right in the middle of a live broadcast, but I can't find it. So I should have put it right here, but it's not. All right, well, I'll worry about it later and hope I remember again. I got a couple weeks, but anyway. So Swanson says, have you sharpened the wife's knife so you don't injure her again? I did not injure her. I gave her a sharp knife. She injured herself. But yeah, I did sharpen her knife. So yeah, I sharpened her knife. She's okay. It wasn't a bad injury. It was just a small cut. But she always makes me nervous when she uses a knife. I mean, it's just, I always watch her cut things. I'm like, oh, you're going to cut yourself. I can't watch. And this time she actually did. TM says somebody needs to chat something. LOL. Yeah, I got quiet there for a minute. I'm sorry. Unlimited in Georgia says, have you had a quail that's head moves around all the time like it's dizzy? I don't know. I mean, maybe. I don't know. I've had quail that move their heads a lot, like looking around, and it's kind of jerky movement, but I've never attributed it to looking like they're dizzy. So I don't know that I ever have. I mean, if it's still getting around, eating and drinking, it's probably okay. I don't know exactly. Jacob Wolf says, I just get Boss from the local feed store. Just make sure the only ingredient is sunflower seeds. Some of the Boss for birds have vitamins and minerals added. Don't feed them that, just plain seed. That's good advice. Yeah, just get the regular black oil sunflower. S.O. Swanson says, darn, I need my tags too. They expired in May. Oops, you're a couple days late. Mine expire in June, so I've got till the end of the month. I can renew online. I can do a 2-year renewal, I believe. So that's good. I don't have to go to the DMV. Rita says, aren't sunflower seeds too big for quail? Yeah, they may be a little bit on the big side for quail. I don't know how well quail would do with them, but pretty much everything likes black whale sunflower seed. You could try it and see. Bunny Money says, I grow my Boss and give the flower heads to the chickens, but the greens go to the rabbits. Verna says, not if you remove the husks and you give them grit. So, yeah, you could. Yeah, you can. I mean, I definitely, if I was going to give them, I'd probably try to remove the shells. I don't know how well they'd crack the shells and get through them, and they'd probably figure out a way to get those things. I mean, they'd probably be fine with it. But, yeah, they do need some grit if they're going to be eating things other than your regular quail. If you've got a sandbox, that's going to work for grit. They'll be fine. I always, I talk about the issue I have with, the earwigs, how many earwigs we have around here. Well, every time I open up the hutch, there's a bunch of them right in the door, like where the door frame was, when it's open now, and they're all along there. And I always take the little spade thing and flick them into the sandbox. The quail come in and just go to town on them. Jacob says, my tags expire in July. I hate renewing because I have 4 vehicles and 5 trailers. The government bends me over on that one every year, $250 plus. Yeah, that's unfortunate. I don't get too upset about paying for tags. The one that really bothers me is personal property tax. Like, we have a personal property tax I have to pay because I own a vehicle. I pay it on my vehicle every year, and it's not a huge amount, but still, it just irritates the heck out of me. I bought that vehicle. I paid sales tax on it when I bought it. It's paid off, and now I got to pay tax on it to own it. That drives me crazy. That really bothers me. That bothers me more than any other tax. I don't like property tax either, but I can almost justify that as paying for like the police, the fire department, those kinds of things. I can almost justify that one. But personal property tax, I can't justify it at all. I think that's completely wrong. It's theft. Straight out theft. Silver Creek Wildlife says, howdy, listening and working our side garden. Well, good luck. Hopefully everything goes well there, and thank you for joining us for a while at least. Scrap 5000 says, Chris, look online for used or cosmetic damage plucker for much less money. Even better, I bet you can get a sponsor to send a free one. You have 100,000 subs. Flex that. Well, maybe. I don't know. I could. I've gotten a few sponsorships and gotten a few things that I thought would be helpful for the channel. I've also had some sponsors that reached out to me and they just didn't match up with our audience at all. So I just turned them down and said, no, I don't think that's going to work. And there were things that I just didn't make any sense. So Bunny Money says, quail beaks are strong, can break anything, but I like to keep my quail feed consistent for egg production. Yeah, black oil sunflower flowers shouldn't bother it at all. And Scrap 5000 says, Chris, I'm a CPA, and I'll be the first to tell you that taxation is theft. It is, isn't it? Rita says, property tax bothers me. $12,000 a year, not fun. Yeah, your tax is high. And unless you got, I don't know, maybe, you're in California, aren't you? Yeah, that makes sense. In Missouri, I think my property tax is not that high. It still bothers me I have to pay any property tax, but like I said, I can almost justify that when I pay a property tax. I live in the city, maybe that's the payment I pay to be protected by the fire department, the police department, the road work, all that kind of stuff. I tell myself that so I don't get too upset about it. But again, personal property tax, I cannot justify in any way. Drives me crazy. Jacob Bull says, thank goodness we aren't like that in Ohio, but they got the last laugh because my property taxes are due in July 2, and they raised them because I got a shed, so my property is now more valuable, LOL. Oh, no. I can't remember how much I want to say my property tax is not that big a deal, though. Silver Creek Wildlife says, taxation is theft, especially when you're taxed when you die. Come on. Yeah, I know. You can't get out of here without being taxed, right? TM says, I think you need a skull shaver sponsorship. Just an idea, though. Yeah. Were you saying I didn't do a good job shaving? I've actually tried. I can't remember the one I got. It's not an electric one. And I just didn't like it. I mean, it just doesn't shave close enough. I like a close shave when I shave. I'm not that close right now, but I shave every other day, basically. And sometimes on the weekends I'll go 2 days without shaving. But I like a real close shave, and they're just not close enough for me. We're way off topic of normal stuff, aren't we? Jacob Wolf says, taxation isn't just theft, it's extortion. Just think about what happens if you don't pay your taxes. Yeah, they come and take your stuff. I know. Yeah, it's crazy. Verna says, yeah, mostly when they tax you on things they can take away from you. Yep, indeed. Now, I pay property tax on, my house, and then my back two lots are, hit the light. My back two lots are separate from the house. They're not on the same deed. So I pay property tax on all of them separately. But those back lots, I want to say my property tax on those is like maybe $100 a year, $200. It's not very much. Silver Creek Wildlife says, "OL, they meet me with a boomstick when I don't pay taxes." LOL. Are you a Evil Dead fan? The boomstick. That's an old show I haven't watched in a long time. The Army of Darkness. That was a good one. Jacob Wolf says, we do an escrow program, so I just pay monthly, and then they tell me what I still owe in January and July. Yeah, I do my house property taxes because I still pay mortgage. I don't have my house paid off. And that's all through escrow. So that's why I can't remember exactly how much it was. It's not super expensive in Missouri. I don't remember exactly what it was. There were a couple of years where I had to, I didn't have enough in escrow to pay it. So I had to what did I have to do? It increased my payment for a little while, but then the last couple of years it's been fine. So it's not a big deal. Silver Creek says, well, that's exactly it. Army of Darkness. So, yep, I remember that one. That's a pretty funny movie. Tim says, let's talk about the quail and leave those taxes alone. Yeah. Well, sometimes we just get, he says, just joking. Sometimes we get a little off topic. We were preaching last week, so I guess we're preaching this week just a different way. But yeah, if there's nothing else, if somebody wants to talk about quail, bring it up. We respond to the comment. The chat drives the conversation here. Silver Creek says, I'm in 2 counties and I get taxed on a conservation easement as well. It's stupid. I'm saving my neighbors from flooding and I get taxed for the pond with the dam. That's ridiculous. Yeah, that sounds horrible. Jacob Wolf says, I got a quail question. I'm looking at the vinyl coated wire for the bottom. My local options are 1.5 inch by 1 inch, 16 gauge, 3/4 by 3/4 inch, 14 gauge, 1 inch by 1 inch in both 14 and 16 gauge. And I know 1/2 by 1/2 is standard uncoated. Okay, where's the question? Are you wondering which one you should use? Is that what the question is? And Silver Creek says, that's Army Corps of Engineers work, and I get to pay for it. Oh, that's ridiculous. Oh, which final coated option is best? Okay, so I think usually it's going to be 1 by 1/2 inch, and 16 gauge is a little bit on the small side, but if it's coated, it should be fine. So I would go with that one, especially I think that would work. Silver Creek says 1 2 inch wire, good stuff. Is that? I don't know what you're saying there. It doesn't make sense. Rita says go with the 1/2 inch coated. The 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch. That's not coated. It's a standard uncoated, the 1/2 inch. There's a 1/2 inch by 1 inch 16 gauge coated, 3/4 inch by 3/4 inch, 14 gauge, 1 by 1 in both 14 and 16 gauge. So I think I'd go 1 by 1/2. You might be able to go with 1 by 1. I don't know. Well, Jacob says of those listed ran out of characters. LOL. I figured you did. I was just waiting for it to come back. Steve says, has anybody had any good luck with Farm Innovators Incubator? My last hatch was only 25%. Don't blame the incubator too much. It's probably the incubator, but don't blame it too much. If you haven't done it already, calibrate the incubator. That's probably the issue. The Farm Innovations makes a pretty good incubator. It's just like my little giant for the most part. And I used that for years and years and years and had great hatch rates with it. But I will tell you that those thermostats are notorious for being off just a little bit. So you may have set it at 99 degrees, but it may only be at like 97. So get a couple of thermometers that are calibrated, accurate, throw them in your incubator, run it for a little while and see what those two, inside say compared to what it's reading on the thermostat on the incubator. You may have to adjust it a little bit to get it to actually 99 degrees in the incubator. And that'll probably fix the issue for the most part. Silver Creek says, yeah, sorry, 1/2 inch. Yeah, if he wants coated wire, though, he doesn't have that option. 1/2 inch coated wire. Linda, hey, there's Linda. Good to see you. Says hello, everyone. Hello, Chris. Super happy to be joining tonight. Hey, we're happy to have you. We're going to see you soon at QuailCon. If you guys don't know Linda Easton Waller, she is kind of the one behind Quail University. Zach and oh my goodness, don't tell her I forgot her name all of a sudden. I'm so bad with names. Time and Timber. Oh, I'm so bad with names. I forget everybody's name. Anyway, they're the ones that kind of, were the faces of the video, but Linda is really the brainchild behind it. So good to have you here. Thanks for joining us. Scrap 5000 says, Chris, I tried to get hardware cloth. Wait, I got tired of hardware cloth killing animals' feet. So I just ordered expanded flattened sheet plates. Will install soon. Supposed to be awesome. Expanded flattened sheet or steel plates, huh? I don't even know what that is. Expanded. I got to type that in so I can look that up later. Expanded flattened steel sheet. Oh, okay. I see what you're talking about then. It's like, yeah, it's like a grate. Interesting. What kind of sizes do they have? I'll look it up later. I'll keep you guys. Oh no, where's my chat? There it is. Keep you guys watching me while I'm doing that. Bunny Money says Quail. I invested in a Sportsman cabinet incubator in January, and I'm bringing in over $100 a week just selling day olds and 2-week olds at an 85% hatch rate. The incubator is almost paid off. Well, that's fantastic. There's not really a big market for quail here. I've tried to sell a few from time to time, and there are some people on Craigslist that are selling them, but it doesn't really go. I mean, how are you marketing them, I guess, is the question. How are you offering them up? Because I don't think Facebook, if I'm not mistaken, Facebook does not. There we go. Good grief, that was hard. Had to get rid of something. Facebook does not allow selling animals through their marketplace. So I don't know. I mean, are you just doing it on Craigslist? Is there some other way to do it? I don't know. TM says, is your cage to keep your animals in or to keep the other animals out? What are we talking about? My cage? My cage? Or are you talking to somebody else? I'm sorry, TM. I don't know what we're talking about. I don't know what cage we're talking about. But, I mean, if we're talking about my quail hutch, well, yeah, it's to keep the quail in. I mean, hopefully it keeps other animals out as well, but I don't know what we're talking about. Verna says, Steve, if you have used the Farm Innovation for a while, they usually don't go high enough to calibrate it. What? Jasmine. Sorry, Verna got it. Jasmine Bass. I know Jasmine. She's a friend of mine. I know. Don't tell her I forgot her name. She's probably going to watch this. I just couldn't get the name out for some reason. I do that with everybody. So don't be offended if I know you and I can't forget your name, or I can't remember your name. I don't know what you're saying, Verna. If you have used the Farm Innovation for a while, they usually don't go high enough to calibrate it. Oh, are you saying the thermostat on it, you can't turn it up to calibrate it? Is that true? You can't go up above 100? I don't know. Ritka says, yes, I have Farm Innovation Incubator. Just had a batch a week ago. I set it 1 degree higher because I used a few electronic thermostats to check. Incubator temperature was off a bit. Yeah, that's pretty common. It doesn't matter if it's a Farm Innovation, a little giant, pretty much any incubator out there, you really need to kind of calibrate them. Fat Country from Riverview, Florida. Good evening to you. Thanks for joining. So much joy. Hello to you too. Let's see. Ritka says, by the way, I had quail of various colors. So now I have a chick that is gray with white wings. Interesting. I used to have birds with different colors, and I just kind of got tired of them, vent sexing them. So I just went back to just I grow them for meat and eggs. So I want the biggest one I can get that lays, has a decent egg laying rate. And that's the brown, the standard brown. Cause you can just, and I like that you can just feather sex them. I can tell, like I just had birds hatch this week, and by the end of next week, I'll be able to tell which ones are roosters and which ones are hens. Jacob says, Chris, did you ever check out the Sprague River Homestead rabbit tractor design? I talked to you last week, said you were going to look at it. I've still got it pulled up, and no, I haven't looked at it. Here, let me actually click on it, started, so I can watch it a little bit later. I'll have to check it out. Thanks for that. I've been kind of lazy the last week, and well, I'll check it out. Unlimited in Georgia says the Dizzy Quail is eating good, but looks around like it is on a carousel, spinning, trying to focus on objects while spinning, possible brain injury or vertigo. It could be. I mean, it could be like an inner ear infection. There's a number of different reasons it could cause that. It makes me, you're saying it's spinning around, like the whole body is spinning around the whole time. That's a little bit odd. I think I might. If it's eating and drinking, I don't know. You could go one of two ways. If it's eating and drinking just fine, it's obviously doing okay in a sense. But at the same time, if it looks like it's suffering at all, I'd put it down. But that's just the way I would do it. And keep in mind that animals don't always show signs of suffering. So if in doubt, I would put it down, and that would be the way I would handle it. Steve says, my first hatch, I used my Inkbird temp controller from my fish tank to monitor the temp. I spent more time tuning the temp up and down to try to keep it steady. Yeah, you just kind of got to get, It's really more about what the average temp is in there, um, than it is about like what it is in an exact moment. And you're going to drive yourself crazy if you're trying to adjust it, just sitting there watching it, adjusting it up and down. But you kind of figure that out probably. Scrap 5000 says, Chris, I found a 2-pack of 2 feet by 4 feet sheets for $98 on Amazon. Not cheap, but neither are the injured animals and nonstop repairs with hardware cloth. I don't have any of those issues really. I mean, I get a bird that every once in a while like has a little bit of a leg problem and then they get over it in a couple of days. But for the most part, I don't really have any issues with hardware cloth. I don't have problems with having to repair it. I don't have problems with birds getting injured on it. I don't have bumblefoot issues. It just works fine for me. So I don't know if it's different kinds of hardware cloth that people get in some areas or what, but Tim says, I was just asking. Okay, I don't know. If I didn't get your question answered, I'm sorry. I just didn't understand. Bunny Money says, in Canada, Kijiji is the same as Craigslist. Oh, okay. And there is no one in my area selling quail, so I seen a hole in the market, and I'm filling it. And I don't blame you. I thought you were are you in Canada? Or was it somebody else was from Canada, right? Okay, that makes sense. I got it mixed up. Okay, makes sense. Yeah, okay. Well, that's good. That's great. There is always somebody that's offering some quail for sale. So I mean, there's enough options out there that if you wanted quail, you can get them. But at the same time, when I've offered them up, it's very low market. Nobody's buying, probably because the people that already have them are trying to sell them too, and nobody else wants them but the people that already have them. Good to see you, Bill Thompson. He says good evening. Rika says Facebook users are creative. They use phrases like quail up for discussion, like we want to have small talk, but it's for sale. Yeah, I know. I've tried a few of those kinds of posts, but I don't ever get any response to them. Verna says, you got it, Chris. It becomes so far off that you can't calibrate it. I think if that happened, I would call the company. I can't speak for Farm Innovations, but Little Giant customer service is fantastic. If you call them up with a problem you have with your incubator, like thermostat's off or whatever, they send you a new part. They don't ask when you bought the incubator, nothing. They just send you a new part to replace it. So Farm Innovations may do the same thing. I don't know. Linda says, hey, Chris, do you think quail would be more popular if more people tried quail eggs and quail meat? My big challenge at the farmer market is getting people to try them. Well, I mean, it probably depends on where you're at. I mean, I'm in Southwest Missouri. Lots of people around here have tried quail. I mean, there's a season you can hunt them here. It's not. I mean, and this is, we're, fairly rural. I mean, there's a lot of people that haven't tried quail, but those people that haven't tried quail, they're pretty much open to, wild game in general because they grew up in a family that probably hunted something. So it's not a big issue getting people to try them around here. I think it's just a matter of, most of the people I know around here, they don't really care to raise their own animals, and the ones that do are already doing it. So that's the problem I'm having, I think. But that's a good point, and you're in California though, aren't you? That's a little bit different. Getting people to try them is your difficulty, huh? So are you, do you like have cooked eggs there, like hard boiled or deviled or something like that? Or, honestly, I don't know that the eggs would be a big selling point for most people because they just taste like eggs. I mean, they're not that much different as much as we talk about them. And I like quail eggs great, but for the most part, they're just eggs. They're just smaller than a chicken egg. So what's the benefit? You've got to figure out what the benefit is for the person. And the benefit is they can raise them in their backyard in a very small space and not have to not like chickens. They don't take up as much room. They're not as much of a nuisance, and that'd be the benefit, I guess. Steve says, I'm pretty sure the low hatch rate is due to being outside in the rabbit shed with crazy temp swings. Yeah, that's probably true. If you get, if you're getting crazy temperature swings, it's hard for the incubator to level off. So yeah, I mean, I had at one point, well, you can't see, but over here on this bench where I keep my incubator, I had the shades open and I was getting terrible hatch rates because the sun would come across in the middle of the day, heat it up, and so yeah, you want to keep it in a fairly temperature stable environment. Verna says, to Linda, I would advise you to make some deviled eggs for samplers. Also, you can make some barbecue quail legs as samplers too. Yeah, I'd go more with the breast than the legs. The legs are just a nibble, and it's just not enough to impress most people. But Maybe take the breast, cut the breast off the bone. You get two halves. Throw a piece of, either like blue cheese, wrap it with bacon, brush it with some Red Hot, grill that off till the bacon's done. Frank's Red Hot, or like a buffalo wing, basically, or barbecue sauce with jalapeno and cheddar in it, whatever. Just wrap it up with some bacon, grill it off, have it up there. And you can cut them in half, so you have two little pieces of each one. You get 4 out of 1 bird, and as a little appetizer, put them on a toothpick. People love them, and they'd have a great time with that. And it's wrapped with bacon, so they'll try it. Well, maybe not in California, but anywhere else they would. Scrap 5000 says, Chris, sorry, the injured animals and repairs I meant are for rabbits. Oh, okay, you're using hardware cloth for rabbits. Okay, is that what we're talking about? If that's the case, you don't want to use hardware cloth for rabbits. He says poop doesn't always fall through as well. It rusts. They chew on the separate and separate the strands. Their weight bends and break it. Yeah, hardware cloth is not a good solution for rabbits, but so it sounds like you got a plan for them. Bunny Money says, my little giant was terrible with quail, but chickens was a good hatch rate. Really, I have great hatch rates with my little giant. Great. I mean, like fairly consistently 90% or more. TM says, we got plenty of chicken eggs for sale. How are we doing on time? We got 15 minutes left. We're doing okay. TM says, we got plenty of chicken eggs for sale, but very few quail for sale. I've thought about getting a few eggs. A dozen eggs is what I would like to try. Well, you're saying that people in your area sell chicken eggs, but not very many people sell quail eggs. So, I mean, if you have anybody that sells them and you don't have quail currently, that's a way to go. Yeah. Just buy them from somewhere locally and try them out. And then you can always order more once you've had a success hatching some. Let's see. Bunny Money says, I put my quail eggs every other row to get better egg airflow. I just pack them in there. But, you're talking about in the little giant, right? Yeah, works great for me. Verna says, if you can't get free samples, then charge a quarter for 2 deviled eggs. If you can't give free samples, charge a quarter for 2 deviled eggs and barbecue legs. Ritka says, what do you mean? We love bacon. Well, I was just making a comment about California, but I'm kind of being a jerk, I guess. But you're not from California, right? You're from Canada. So, I mean, yeah, that's not the same. S.O. Swanson says, I believe in California, you have to have a food license to sell or give away samples. That may be the case, too. Verna says, yeah, California sucks. Too many rules. There you go. Yep, that's exactly the issue. Yep, California does suck in a lot of ways. Beautiful state. Love it. I mean, it's just gorgeous. But, yeah, the rules, the regulations, terrible. Linda says, I love these suggestions. Unfortunately, the market I am at doesn't allow samples of cooked foods. I will share recipes and cooking tips. Verna says, make sure those recipes have pictures of finished product. There you go. So much Joy says California is basically a country of its own. Maybe. We got several people from California here. I don't know how they feel about us picking on their state. That seems almost rude, doesn't it? I don't mean anything bad by it. I like you guys just fine. And I like lots of people from California. Bunny Money says, Scrap 5000, you need 1/2 inch by 1 inch welded wire for rabbits and 12-inch spacing on the support boards. The poop falls through just fine for me. All right. Yeah, welded wire does work better. Make sure it's a big enough gauge too. Hardware cloth's pretty small. What is it, like 18 maybe? I don't know. You really want to go with like 14 if you can get it. 16 as at the very smallest would be 16. I would go with. Rika says, I think the way to sell quail eggs is to market it as a healthier alternative. So find the health nuts first. Yeah, but I don't know that you want to oversell it either. I mean, there's some evidence that they are healthier, but how much health? I don't know. I don't necessarily buy into all that they're all that much healthier. There is some evidence though that they can be used. I mean, some real scientific evidence that, I did a video on this years ago, that they could be used to treat all kinds of different illnesses, but you got to eat them raw to get those benefits from them. Verna says, California and Alaska are 2 states that you need permits for everything soon to even breathe. Alaska's that way? Really? I thought Alaska was pretty free. I mean, I get that they have a lot of permits on like hunting and fishing and all those kinds of, but that makes sense. I mean, you got the whole country going there to take advantage of their natural resources. You got to regulate it or it's going to be gone. Linda says, yes, Steve, you're right. And I do agree. There are too many rules here. Yep. One more reason to not live in California, I guess. Ritka says, we don't care about picking on our state. We do too. So much Joy says, definitely, Vay, thankfully I'm in the most free state, Texas. I wouldn't say Texas is the most free. It's as free as everywhere else, but I mean, Missouri's not bad. Oklahoma, Kansas, I mean, I don't really like Kansas all that much, but it has nothing to do with their rules. It's just flat and boring. Rika says, yes, I am from the Republic of California. I thought you were from Canada. I thought you said you were from Canada and living in, I'm maybe getting you mixed up with somebody else. Bunny Money says, you have to let people know about the quail egg scissors for them to get interested. Well, not if they don't know about quail at all. I mean, if they don't know about quail, they wouldn't know the benefit of a quail egg scissor. But you're right. If they've ever tried to try to crack a quail egg open and they didn't have the scissors, you're right. That's definite necessity for them. But So Much Joy says, well, I'm in East Texas, have been my whole life, so not sure about West Texas. I should look it up. I don't know what are we talking about? Oh, about it being free. Well, Texas is Texas. I mean, well, I guess some municipalities or counties may have some specific laws, but I don't think anywhere in Texas is overly, strict on their laws and things. I lived in East Texas for a little while. I lived in Nacogdoches for about 7 years. I've been back in Joplin for a long time, but like 13 years. But anyway, Bill Thomas says, I live in PA. It's different, rural where I am, but they still refer to it as the People's Republic of PA. Interesting. Berna says, or parishes. Well, I don't think Texas didn't have parishes, do they? It's counties. Louisiana has parishes, right? Scott 5000 says, speaking of quail eggs, electric peeler for boiled quail eggs is magical. Interesting. I've seen them before, but again, can't justify the cost, so I haven't done them. TM says, I was surprised about the quail egg peeler, the electric one. S.O. Swanson says it's an understatement. So yeah, apparently quail egg peeler is the bee's knees, so to speak. Bunny Money says, I have a 2-inch by 4-inch shield, 3.5 inches, the 2x4 frame below the welded wire. It seems like a lot of work, but it wasn't. What? You must be talking to somebody else because I don't know what we're talking about. You have a 2-inch by 4-inch shield, 3.5 inches below the welded wire. What does that mean? I'm sorry. I'm lost. I don't know what we're talking about. And then we're out of chat. Nobody's talking anymore, so we got 8 minutes left. I'm not ready to wrap this one up yet. Linda says, I want to try the peeler. Is there a specific brand you like? Scrap 5000. Probably off Amazon. I don't know. I'm not sure that the brands are all that different. They're probably all from China. And they're probably all from the same place, just remarketed by somebody else. Verna says, what is often called a P-guard for rabbit pens? What is often called a P-guard? Are you talking about like around the edge of the cage? That's usually where those are. They'd be about yay tall, and you wire them to the side of the cage or all the way around, keep them from peeing out the side. I don't think that's what she's talking about. Jacob Wolf says, Chris. Oh wait, no. Scrap 5000 says, Chris, she means a shield to protect from predators. Oh, so you put like another row of wire under there to keep predators from getting up to the rabbits from underneath. Okay, that makes sense. Jacob Wolf says, Chris, do you know what you're going to talk about for QuailCon? Not yet. I got to figure it out. No, I don't know. I mean, I'm open for suggestions. If there's anything you guys want to hear, let me know. If there's something you want me to talk about specifically, let me know. Don't know. I would be fine with just getting up there and doing a question and answer thing, but I don't know that everybody wants to hear that. So I'll try to come up with a topic. when I speak, I used to be a trainer. I was a trainer for years and years, and I was pretty good at training. I liked it, but it was a very interactive training. So I'm not used to speaking, just like giving a speech for, 30 minutes and then, all right, wrap it up and done. I like to interact with people. I like to talk, have questions and answers and that kind of stuff. So I'd be fine with doing that, but I'm not sure that's what everybody wants. SO says, Linda, I think they're all made by the same people. The egg peeler, no difference between units, just resellers. Yeah, that's kind of my thought too on it. That you might check if you might even check like Alibaba or AliExpress and see if you can get them directly from the manufacturers, maybe a little bit cheaper. AliExpress if you're only wanting to one, Alibaba if you're wanting like 100 to resell. Bill says, what's the best place to watch a playlist of rabbits for dummies to get started with meat rabbits? Well, my channel, of course. I mean, I've got pretty much everything you want to know about rabbits. So they're probably there. I did a video not too long ago. Verna says, watch all of Chris's rabbit videos. You don't have to watch them all because there's a lot of them. But I think my dog's excited. It sounds like he's running around on the floor. Caught me off guard. Anyway, I did a video not too long ago, like raising meat rabbits for beginners or something like that. That does just in one video does a pretty quick breakdown. And then I have other videos, of course, that address specific topics in more detail. But that might help you. I don't have time to look it up right this second, but it's out there. Dadgummit, I clicked that thing again, didn't I? Did I just click? I clicked something if you guys saw hearts going up there. Linda says, let me know when you decide what you're talking about at QuailCon. I'm putting together another promo video that focuses on what folks will learn. Well, when you figure out what everybody else is talking about, let me know, because then I can just kind of fill in some gaps if that's not too hard. If it's difficult, I'm sorry, I don't mean to put it all on you, but just if it's easy enough for you to do that and say, like, here's topics that we have covering so far, then I can just kind of fill in some of the gaps maybe. Bunny Money says, Bill, the worst part of breeding rabbits is the butchering, but Chris has good videos on it already after the first one is easy. Yep, for sure. I will tell you guys, my chicken processing video from this weekend got flagged for, it's only available to those over 18. For some reason, it's adult content. I tried to be as respectful, but the rules change on YouTube all the time. You can't keep up with them. You don't know what they're going to flag and what they're not going to flag. So it did get flagged. Adult content. I should have just showed the whole processing and not filtered out the actual dispatching. Fat Country says, talk about how raising quail has changed from when you first started. I don't know that that'd be that interesting for everybody, because I think, well, some people it would be probably, but there's a lot of people that are new there. That's not a bad thought. I'll jot that down and play with that idea a little bit. I don't have anything to write on. All this paper. Water everywhere, not a drop to drink, right? Oh, there we go. There's a piece of paper I can write on. Sorry. There we go. Got one topic suggestion written down. Jacob says, Chris, how old were you when you started raising animals for yourself? I'm in mid-20s, and most people look at me funny when I start talking about it, except for my best friend. Everybody else thinks I'm crazy. How old was I when I first started raising animals? I mean, I was a kid. I raised animals most of my life, of one kind or another. Took kind of a big break when I was in my mid-20s, because I was more focused on other things at the time, and then came back and started. But when I started back up was just a little bit before I started this channel. So it's been a little over 10 years. So I was 40-ish years old when I started back up. S.O. Swanson says, Chris's speed will involve the word I eat it. Oh, his speak will involve the word I eat it. Haha. Yeah, that is kind of funny. If you guys went last year and you had Jasmine do this video on enriching your quail, and she did this great talk on all the things that you could do to make, to enrich your quail's lives. And then there was somebody else did a speech on like treating quail, like the wounds and stuff. And then Dale from Dale's Quail and I both get up there and we're like, hey, how's a problem? Just eat it. Just eat it. You've got bumblefoot, eat it. Just get rid of it. Got wry neck, get rid of it. Dispatch it. It's not worth saving. It's not worth putting your effort into. We're just kind of, it is a very drastic contrast between the two, but that's all right. Jacob says, trying to stay up with YouTube terms of service is a full-time job in and of itself. Yeah, no kidding. Bill Thompson says, no problem butchering. I just don't know how to raise them. Maybe not much different from quail. Not really. It's not really that hard. I mean, there's a few things to know, but it's really not that complex. You're going to do fine with it. Let's see. Tim says, have 2 videos, one edited for kids and one not. Well, I didn't. That's the deal on that processing video. I mean, I took special care not to show the actual dispatching. Tried not to show anything that was too graphic, and they still marked it as electric or as adult. S.O. Swanson says that link you sent, Verna, is the manual one. Go with the electric one. Bunny Maiden says nice. Bunny Money says nice, and Iron Maiden reference. I don't think it was an Iron Maiden reference. Trust me. You say water, water everywhere, not a drop to drink. That's it's not Iron Maiden. That's from classic literature. Is that Moby Dick, or I can't remember, honestly. Linda says, Chris, I think you can choose to talk about homesteading topics. I will find out. Okay, do that. I'm not a true homesteader, though, so I don't know. I mean, I could talk on some of those topics, but Outside Doug says, or Outside Dog says, I watch your videos, enjoy them. I watch others who set their quail up for the eggs to roll out of the cage on their own. What's the advantage of doing it your way? I don't know that there's a big, I mean, it's really whichever one you want. I don't do enough quail that it's really that big a deal for me to open the hutch up and just collect the eggs. When I had the quail, I did try that for a while. Had them in a cage where it would roll out. And it was on a slight angle. But the problem is like, I don't know. It just didn't look right to me. Everything you put in their feeders, whatever, it's always going to end up at the front of the cage, always, every time. Everything ends up at the front of the cage, right in front of the door. So I didn't like that. And it also just, the birds always walking like they needed a V8. You know, they're always on an angle. So I didn't really like that either. But that's not to say there's anything wrong with that. It's just, you know, I can see the advantage, like Zach from My Shire Farm. He raises, but he's raising thousands of birds. I mean, and collecting thousands of eggs a day. That's a little different. I've got 2 hutches, very seldom have more than about 25 egg layers at a time. It's not that big a deal for me to just open the hutch up and grab all the eggs out and close it back up. It's quick. It's easy. That's not really a big time saver for me to have mine at an angle with a rollout cage. That's the way why I do it the way I do it. Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner. That's it. You're right. Scrap 5,000. I couldn't remember. I knew somebody would know. Yeah, Bunny Money says water, water everywhere, yet not a drop to drink. Yeah, that is the ancient. You're the Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner. You're right. I had a hard time. I couldn't think of it, but you're right. That's exactly what it is. Linda says, wait, what's your definition of homesteading? You grow a garden, raise rabbits and quail, and you hunt right. In my mind, that makes you a homesteader. Yeah. We've talked about this, though. It's not what you think. It's what your customer thinks, right? But I'm not really your customer. I'm just giving you a hard time. Yeah, I don't think of myself as a homesteader because, I mean, I live in town. I don't really produce that much. I mean, we produce probably 25, 30% maybe of what we eat. And if you include hunting, probably close to 30%. But that's it. We're not true homesteaders, I don't think. Now, you talk to like Dale from Dale's Quail. Now, that's a little bit more like it. But all right, guys, I got to wrap this one up. We're a little past 8. I've got to go still hang out with my wife for a little while before bed. So let me see. I got 1 or 2 more comments I might be able to answer real quick, and then we're going to wrap it up. Tanya says, I have quail, and I bought a quail hutch. I have 10 quail. Is it stupid that I built a cage around it that is 6 foot long, 6 foot wide, and 6 foot tall to give them more room? No, not stupid at all. I mean, you don't have to go that big, but if you want to, why not? Do it. It's if you got the resources and you want to do it, do it. There's nothing wrong with that at all. You're going to be doing an Easter egg hunt for the eggs. I mean, who knows where they're going to be, but that's okay. Who cares? Bunny Money says, I give all my quail a container with sand, and they always lay the eggs in the sand, and the sand cleans the eggs off. Me too. I love it. Sand's the best thing ever. Scrap 5,000 says, trivia. I should have been a pair of ragged claws scudding across the floors of ancient seas. Can anyone name it? I can't write offhand. That doesn't sound familiar. I may have been something I read at one time, but either way, who knows? I got to wrap it up. I don't have time to think about it anymore. So, All right. We're going to wrap this one up tonight, guys. Thanks for joining me. I appreciate that. Hopefully, we'll see you guys back next week. I don't see any reason why I won't be here at this point anyway, so should be. And until then, as always, God bless.